Okay, this is part two of Johnny Cash is Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley is Johnny Cash. Now, they've been discussing in this video that June Carter first hooked up with Elvis and had nothing to do with Johnny Cash, but they're discussing the relationship there of Carter, Cash, and Elvis, and we're going to join this video. It's called The Truth About Elvis Presley's Friendship with Johnny Cash. It's found on the channel called Grunge. I'm using it to further the truth and tell you Cash and Presley are the same.
Saying, quote, "I don't know this Johnny Cash," to which Presley replied, "Oh, you'll know Cash. The whole world will know Johnny Cash. He's a friend of mine." In June 1956, Carter and Cash finally met at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee. Carter wrote, "Johnny Cash took me by the hand and said, 'I've always wanted to meet you.' The strangest feeling came over me. I was afraid to look him in the eyes. It was one of the things I did best. I never stammered and still found myself not able to say much of anything. I think I finally blurted out, 'I feel like I know you already, Elvis.'"
That's right. June Carter knew him already because she was in the openings and working with Elvis. It's all one and the same.
Elvis plays you on the jukebox all the time and he can't tune his guitar without humming "Cry, Cry, Cry." Now he's got me doing it. In 2008, John Carter Cash, the son of Johnny Cash and June Carter, released the biography Anchored in Love, an intimate portrait of June Carter Cash. In the book, John addressed speculation that June may have had an affair with Elvis Presley. He wrote, "Throughout my life, I would see my mom get a mischievous twinkle in her eye whenever she mentioned Elvis Presley.
She would get a mischievous twinkle in her eye whenever Elvis Presley was mentioned. Why? Because Elvis was Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash was Elvis. One actor, singer, musician, playing two roles on the stage of hoax history. I call it the split persona. And if you saw any of my videos on the Civil War, I will show you that the Northern generals go to battle with the Southern general, and it's the same. They just change uniforms. The actor who plays the Northern general is the same actor who will play the Southern general. In other words, it's all a pretend battle because it's a split persona. One actor will play both roles. Thus, you believe there's truly a battle somewhere. So, you've believed all along that Johnny Cash was completely a separate man or woman from Elvis Presley, but I'm telling you, they are one and the same.
Flash merrily, and she would say, "You know, son, your father was always jealous of Elvis. She even told me once that she sometimes wondered what would have happened if she had fallen in love with Elvis." John Carter Cash speculated that there may have been more to his mother's speculation than idle fancy. He wrote, "Though Mom always maintained that she never had an affair with Elvis, Carl Smith, her first husband, believed differently, and perhaps for good reason. After Carl moved out of their Madison home, Mom would sometimes let Elvis stay at the house to rest after a tour." On December...
Isn't that interesting? She lets Elvis stay at the house, even though she's married to Johnny Cash. Ha! Come on, people, wake up. They're telling you. There's more here in this video that will reveal it to you. And again, the truth about Elvis Presley's friendship with Johnny Cash, I'm borrowing it, but I'm giving you more truth and the final definitive truth.
1956, singer-songwriter Carl Perkins headed to Memphis' Sun studio for a recording session. A pre-famed Jerry Lee Lewis was there on keys, and by pure coincidence, Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash both stopped by.
By pure coincidence, Elvis and Johnny Cash both show up. By pure coincidence. Come on, people. Wake up. Wait, there's more to this recording session. Listen carefully.
The studio. The foursome then played a 23-song blend of gospel, bluegrass, and contemporary hits, including Presley's own Love Me Tender and Don't Be Cruel. Recognizing the unusual and now historic nature of this meeting of musical minds, Sun Records founder Sam Phillips alerted the Memphis Press Scimitar. The paper ran the story the following day, complete with a photo of the four musicians captioned "The $1 Million Quartet." Cash describes the session in Cash the Autobiography, writing, "I was the first to arrive and the last to leave, contrary to what has been written. I was just there to watch Carl record, which he did until mid-afternoon, when Elvis came in with his girlfriend. At that point, the session stopped and we all started laughing and cutting up together. Then Elvis sat down at the piano, and we started singing gospel songs we all knew. Though some have said that Cash can't be heard in the recordings, he wrote that this isn't true. Contrary to what some people have written, my voice is on the tape. It's not obvious because I was farthest away from the mic."
BS! BS! It's because the Elvis character dominates the recording, and the Cash character isn't really present. You're told he's there, but he's not, because basically there's one actor, one singer, one recording artist that plays both roles. That's why you don't hear Johnny Cash on this quartet, because it was a farce.
Singing a lot higher than I usually did in order to stay in key with Elvis, but I guarantee you, I'm there. In 1959, Johnny Cash opened for Elvis Presley on a live tour. He began with a slapstick, hip-swiveling Elvis.
Okay, my first video, I talked about this, and if you take a look at Johnny Cash, his body frame is almost identical to Elvis. Now, they fluff up Johnny Cash later, and they make him appear to be much bigger and hefty and husky, and they make Elvis rather slender at first. And of course, Elvis will get puffed up towards the, quote, end of his life, and we're to assume that that's because of drug usage, so he will die tragically in 1977, but Johnny Cash will live on. But if you watch this impersonation that he does it perfectly. Why does he do it perfectly? Because he is Elvis.
And a rendition of the King's 1958 hit Heartbreak Hotel. Then when Presley would enter the stage, he would take his turn impersonating the Man in Black. Presley's Cash impression reportedly traveled offstage and on the road. According to Chuck Crisafulli and George Klein's 2010 book, Elvis, My Best Man, Radio Days, Rock and Roll Nights, and My Lifelong Friendship with Elvis Presley. During Presley's 1957 tour, he was riding a train when a teenage girl approached him, greeted him with an excited Johnny Cash, and asked him to sing one of his, Cash's, songs. Klein wrote, Elvis would never sing one of his own songs in that type of situation, but for this little Johnny Cash fan, he dropped his voice to its lowest notes and started singing a few lines of Hey Porter, a song Cash had cut at Sun that seemed especially appropriate for a midnight train ride. The girl was thrilled and even ended up with an autograph from Elvis which read, Best wishes, Johnny Cash, to the mainstream.
Okay, that does it right there. That does it right there. The little girl gets an autograph from Elvis, but she signs it, he signs it, Johnny Cash. They just told you in that stupid little story about the little girl. They just told you. It's a split persona. One recording artist playing both roles. Elvis is Cash, Cash is Elvis. So I will stop right here, possibly do another video. And again, I'm not trying to absolutely prove anything to you, but I'm showing you all the evidence I see, and I'll give you my conclusions. If you don't want them, that's okay. Don't have to take them. Thank you for watching. End of video.